As the market has pulled back in absolute calamity, we have all of the worst possible headlines, Twitter threads, posts, Discord channels, Telegram groups popping up. The end of the world, the end of the bull market, the rug pulls, the liquidity scams. Is there no end? Is the bull market for cryptocurrency over? And are we best as traders and investors to just stick our money in the bond market and hope for 90 more years of federal manipulation? Is that the best option? Or should you be buying the heck out of the dip? All that and more in today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin. I like it. Welcome back, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Today is the 7th of September. I think so. Let me check. Yeah, it's the 7th of September. It is Monday. It is Labor Day here in the United States. So shout out to everybody who is performing labor on this beautiful day. It's so good to be back. Thank you guys so much. And a big shout out to the team for keeping the show going while I was on my convalescence to meet the Dalai Lama. Now, moving on. Yeah, last week I was not feeling good. I really don't know what it is. Burning the candle pretty hard at both ends. That's what it takes to, I guess, profit in the bull market. And I just fell asleep for a week. So we'll move on. We'll talk about that later. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, any like medicinal herbal remedies, please post them in the chat. But I'm feeling good 100%. A huge shout out to the team, particularly Alex, Jack, and Jason for doing some fantastic live streams, keeping everything updated. But today, I want to talk about what's going on in the market. Obviously, we've had drastic pullbacks in everything. I think that the majority of traders out there are a little mixed. What I don't want to do, I certainly don't want to give you the show of could go up, it could go down. Of course, that's always the reality whenever you're talking about trading because we are dealing in probabilities. But I will just let you guys know what I'm doing with my capital, what I'm doing with my money, and what the traders that I respect and look up to the most are doing with theirs to the best that I can suss out. In addition to that, give you an update on what's going on in the premium group and let you know all the things that are coming on. Ashwagandha, Wook Chewy says. Also, Wook Chewy throwing out those lo-fi beats to study and jam to. So I go through musical traps, right? Where I will just listen to kind of one band specifically or one group or one genre or one kind of eclectic selection of music. I'm an eclectic music listener, but what has been on constant repeat for me over the last week has been things like Slightly Stupid, Revolution, most definitely Revolution, but the lo-fi beats to study to, I really like those YouTube channels. That is a strong second, but Revolution still strong on the charts today. Moving on. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. Obviously, prepare yourself for the plug. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Hitting the like button is important because I want people to see this content. It's important that they see this content. It's important that they see this and not some other stuff that's just like buy my bags because I honestly don't care what you guys buy. I want you guys to do what is best for you in the form of financial benefit or emotional benefit. I was having this conversation last night. Sometimes it's not as easy to quantify the things that we transfer our capital into grow. For example, if I spend $2,000 on taking my family to Six Flags, you could say that I've become $2,000 poor, but I would argue that I've become $2,000 richer. I've transformed that wealth into spiritual value. So things to think about, especially as we move forward into all of this. So, big pullbacks. The big question on everybody's mind is, should we buy the dip? The answer, I think, is yes. You should definitely buy the dip. If we look at long-term fundamentals for Bitcoin, if we look at things like the number of accumulation addresses growing, if we look at the amount of money locked up in addresses, if we look at the amount of value in Bitcoin that hasn't transferred for over a year, for over 2 years, for over 5 years, then we begin to see that, yes, accumulation is stronger than ever. We are seeing short-term profit taking. We look at metrics like the SOPL, for example, SOPR, which is a good metric provided by Glassnode to kind of track, overall are individual traders or Bitcoin hodlers in the short term taking profits and moving money around? The answer is yes. But if you contrast that with long-term SOPR, for example, or just long-term trends and long-term on-chain analysis, then you can see that actually accumulation on Bitcoin is growing. It's stronger than ever. In fact, it's goddamn parabolic, excuse my French. This is not the time to be moving into government bonds. This is not the time to be jumping out of the cryptocurrency scene. I think the reality of the fact is that for most people watching this channel and for most people involved in Bitcoin, their best bet is, as always, to approach everything from a long-term perspective, right? In the long term, it doesn't really matter the ebbs and flows of Bitcoin. In the short term, though, as traders, we need to time these swings. Obviously, DeFi was the swing to time over the last few months. And really, that's not even truly the case, right? So I've heard, DeFi has been popping off for the last few months, and it's something that we're going to be covering more. We're going to be making a little bit of a change to some of the things that we cover, being a little bit more topical, being a little less Bloomberg, which I think is good. I think you guys will enjoy that. And to talk about that today, we're going to be talking about Sushi Swap. Because this is something that even in my convalescence, I was following pretty closely last week and that the team is very excited about and that I have some pretty interesting thoughts on. So we're going to be talking about Sushi Swap. And but the reality is that DeFi hasn't just been popping off for the last few months. DeFi has been popping off for the last 3 years, really. Okay. Chainlink did their ICO in December of 2017 at the peak of the bull market. Okay. If you bought into their ICO, I do believe it's well over 200x if you bought into their ICO. I was looking at CryptoRank yesterday and doing some of these figures. I don't have them in front of me because I didn't think it was germane to the conversation, apropos of nothing. So Chainlink's ICO was in 2017. Band's presale was in 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. And Chainlink and Band, two of the top performing DeFi products, oracles, right? So to say, Band is a competitor to Chainlink for oracles. And then you have several other smaller oracles, which, by the way, I'm going to be allocating a portion of my portfolio to. But we'll talk about that next week when I actually do the allocations, and I'll let you guys know after. Well, I'll let the premium members know this week as I make the allocations, and I'll cover that in a video next week. So you guys wanted the 5 cheap hot alts to buy for 2020. Well, I want to couch that, right? So when I put out my last video, my last pre-recorded video about the coins that I did well on and took profits on, I got some good positive feedback on that because the idea was to showcase to you like my mentality as a professional investor, like how I approach these things, how I took my profits, and how I think about them pre the trade, post the trade, right? Post the trade is very important, and that's what I wanted you guys to take away. But I got some feedback, even from my team, that, hey, the video that we really wanted was like, what coins should we buy right now? And guess what happened a week after that video came out? The market tanked 40%, okay? So did you guys really want me to put out the video on what coins you should buy right now pre a market dump? Well, you're probably glad that I didn't, because I'd probably be getting a whole lot less positive feedback right now. But those videos are going to be coming out. I do think that dip buying is in opportune points. But in the macro, I do think that we have another leg down. So to showcase that and sum that all up, Scrooge McDuck, good to see you, my friend. Let's do some shout outs, but let's get to the chat. Let's get to the charts. Let's break everything down. And let's have some good conversations, guys. So let's get popping. By the way, if I didn't mention, you should follow us on the socials because I'm about to get way more active on Twitter, by the way, because I've got a lot of bullshit to call out. I've got a lot of projects that I want to call out, and I got a lot of projects that I want to highlight too, because there are some people doing some fantastic work in the space. So make sure to go follow us on Twitter, tw.krakencryptocurrency.com. All right. I really hope that, just a second. Okay, now that's all well and good, but why? Prepare for an echo. There we go. Okay. Hopefully we're all good and where we want to be now. Sorry if I just got louder or softer. I apologize for that. OBS is not perfect. All right. So let's get over here, guys, with this. That is right. Their stop loss is our take profit. If only we were all so lucky. All right. So big shout outs to everybody in the chat. Blue Box Territory. I see S180X2. I see Stun Gun. Wook Chewy. Mr. Unicorn. Good member of the YouTube family here. Thank you so much, my friend. We've got B. Kempster Canada saying, let's do this. We've got Jerdy Ernst Eastmont. Jerdy Erstmont. That makes me think of the hurdy-gurdy, which, by the way, Down the Rabbit Hole, Frederick Knudsen, good channel to follow here on YouTube. Only the best. We've got Peckham, Damian Hughes. We've got Don Candon, as always. I look like the main face of COVID. Yes, it's rough, man. Thank you so much. I missed you and your witty retorts, my friend. Philly from Manchester. We've got Taurus. We've got Blue Box Territory. I think I already, sorry if I did not mention you. Of course, Epistemic Crisis, holding it down as always. Alex from the Crib. Scrooge McDuck, Tic Tac Maxwell. And yes. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Drop your questions in the chat. We'll get to it. We'll do the Q&A section toward the end of the show. I want to stay on topic, on content. And it's going to be less charts. Plenty of charts. That's what I'm good at. But also some good fundamentals and pumpamentals as well. All right. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart and just start this off. We're going to go ahead and keep things similarly. Obviously, my week in convalescence put me back about a week, not only on allocations that I wanted to make, well, not really on allocations that I wanted to make because I put that video out letting you guys know that I was taking profit on a lot of my, not a lot, but several of my, some were DeFi, some were not, long-term positions, and I'm quite comfortable with that, right? Some things, some decisions, I would go back and change slightly. For example, Flexicoin, I would have gone ahead and sold it all because when I made that video, we were pretty much at the Flexicoin high, right? Now Flexicoin has corrected quite a bit, so I did take 50% profit on Flexicoin. Flexicoin has pulled back what it's pulled back, and I'm still hodling the other 50%, which I'm now, I don't want to say stuck with, but I'm still up quite a bit from my initial entry, but I'm not at the 150% gain that I had when I had initially entered. So that's fine. I'll give you guys updates on that as well. Holochain, still hodling. Haven't sold it. Holochain, in my strong opinion, is a fantastic project, and I will hold that for 2, 3, 4 years until I get that 1000x that I'm looking for. Let's see here. Unibright. Had taken profits on Unibright, slight profits on Unibright, but I'm still holding the majority of my Unibright position. And then Mainframe, obviously I had sold that position, and then the other coin that I talked about, I had sold that as well. So overall, nothing's really changed on that. As far as Bitcoin and Ethereum is going, I had said on the stream, right, the last show that I did, and to the premium members, I hedged up. I was hedged on Bitcoin. Now, I did have a isolated margin position on Ethereum. And so I'd like to say that, my hedge did so fantastic, which objectively it did. My hedge did fantastic. I had pulled off 30% of my hedge. And so it was not as protected as I would like to be, but 70% of my Bitcoin capital, my trading account, was hedged. And so the price movement to the downside was actually quite profitable for me. However, in the same vein, I did make a mistake as a trader. Just to let you guys know, no matter what degree of professionalism you get to, you're going to make mistakes because life happens. So I had an isolated leveraged long on Ethereum. That I did not set a stop loss on. Now, I'm lucky that it was an isolated margin position, but that margin, it was about $2,000, got liquidated, right? So that's gone. Now, the overall P&L gain was slightly greater than that, but there were also some altcoins that I had purchased for swing trading purposes that hit their stop losses. So overall, I profited on the move down, but certainly not as much as I would like to. So I would like to say that my hedge performed exactly as it was supposed to, and I remained nice and steady. Now, had I not been struck with whatever the heck struck me on Monday, maybe Alex got me sick. I don't know. I just know that I drove Alex to the airport, and then I laid down for a nap on Monday morning and woke up on Friday afternoon. There was obviously eating and stuff in between that, but I'm not lying. It was serious. Yeah, my hedge did exactly what it was supposed to do, which is protect my capital balance. Now, ideally, when we put on a hedge the way that I put one on, we actually tend to, if we get a market dump, profit exponentially because we are short a large quantity of our capital. It's a large position size relative to the 2% risk that we typically put on per trade. But that didn't really happen for me this time. It would have been a great time for it to put on. However, life happened. One stop loss was not set, and then other positions were not exited early because I don't really... Currently, the infrastructure is not set up for my team members to step in and help change my positions. So that is a safety mechanism that may change in the future. But overall, didn't lose money. So yes, Mr. Ether, I am alive. Good to see you, my brother. So let's look at Bitcoin on the daily. So all that to say, we're going to keep the PTP structure up on the charts when we reference PTP for the month of September, and then we'll look to change that as we move into October and get Sam Hine going on, guys. On the daily here, we are in a bearish trend. We've broken the super trend to the downside. We are in bearish super trend territory. We flipped the QQE mod, the initiator for this particular system, into the red. We have flipped the MACD leader, the confirmer for this particular system, into the red. We have flipped the OVV oscillator from Lazy Bear, the vol filter for this particular system, into, yes, the red. IFT RSI, which, by the way, can be used as an initiator, by the way, if you look at it to broach into oversold or overbought territories. Go back test it. It's pretty cool. But we're using it as an exit indicator for when it recovers from oversold territory, not giving us an exit signal. So we are in the oversold, which typically is a step on the gas type maneuver here. And might I add, we are putting in, from a price action perspective, symmetrical consolidation following a very high volume downsell, which, if you guys are familiar with what I preach, symmetrical consolidation tends to lead to continuation in that direction. Right. So things are objectively on the daily looking relatively negative. Alex says, wait until I grow out my beard and shave my head. Yeah, it's going to be like, so it's going to be, you basically can't tell the difference. So it does look like we have more downside in, and that does seem to be the consensus from Alex and the other analysts as well. Now, I do think that playing a dip here, I do think that timing a bounce here is appropriate. That's actually what I'm doing. My hedge is still open. Keep in mind that my hedge was 70% hedged. I haven't actually taken off any of my hedge yet, okay? So my hedge is still on. So I am going to be prepared and ready for further downside, which I think is likely at this point in time. However, I have put on... So hold on, let me do the math here real quick. It would actually be 10% because it's 20% of the amount that I moved over to Bybit. So on isolated margin positions on Bybit, I do have a 10% of my account. It's 20% of the amount that's on that account. But moving on, it's 10% of my total account long on both Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. Now, I opened those up on Saturday evening, okay? Now, Alex had posted the signal to the premium group for the bottom feeder trade, right? And bottom feeder did call a bottom on Bitcoin. I also took the Ethereum position as well. Now, I'm up on both of those positions, not very much, and they're not massive positions, just 10% of my account. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. So I would like to see a movement up because we are seeing a little bit of bullishness, particularly following the Sushi Swap BS. I would like to see a bounce up here. Now, I really doubt that we're going to get back above 11,000. I really doubt that we're going to get that. Alex is kind of favoring a movement up here to retest support from... support turned into resistance, which would be about a 50% Fibonacci retracement. It'd be about a 50% retracement of the move, maybe a 618 if you guys want to talk about fibs. But that would be pushing us up to about 11,000, 10,800 to about 11,200. It's a wide range, but it's not a bad area to target for a bounce. Now, personally, I'll be surprised if we get up there. If we do get up there like that, then I would want to be getting long. I would want to be adding to my long. I would want to be removing my hedge on the way up. I would want to be adding and stepping on the gas for real continuation of this bullish market because I don't think this bull market is over. So strategically, I'm playing a bounce right here with a small amount of my capital, but overall, I am prepared for further downside. So as we get up close, the closer we get to 11,000 on this bounce, if it does indeed happen, and I just don't have a winning, and I don't just have a winning long, and that just hits its stop loss, or I decide to pull it early, which I'll keep you guys updated on, and we do continue downwards, in which case my hedge is going to continue to rack up profits, which by now, by the way, will be just nothing but profit, or accumulation of BTC capital equity, because I don't have any concurrent long positions on besides the losers, which wouldn't be equal to the gain from the downside if you guys are following the math, hopefully, yes. Yeah, if we get back up above 11,000, then I would want to be going long for the continuation of the bull market. So to the downside, where? Well, okay, we got the gap boys out there. 9.5 is a logical dip to the downside. But if we go to the weekly, we do have the super trend on the weekly coming in at 87.58, so 8,700, so sub 9,000. So I will state unequivocally, right? Because it seems that when you browse YouTube, and again, nothing against any of these individuals, there are elements of their channels that I like, but it does seem to me that the consensus out there, whether you're listening to Mitch Ray or Ivan on Tech or Chico, or whether you're listening to Crown, it doesn't really matter. I respect all those individuals in their own right. And then, of course, there's a myriad of other individuals that are smaller on the way down. And then there's me, kind of down here at the bottom. So it seems like their consensus, the general consensus, and this isn't just YouTube, this is Twitter, and this is Discord, and this is Reddit, and this is just literally everywhere you go, is if we close below 9.5, then that's it, guys. The bull market's over. And I would like to say that is nothing but hogwash, okay? Now, from a technical perspective, we can make some arguments about that, and that makes sense. However, there is an element here that goes beyond technicals. There's an element here of understanding exactly what's going on in the world. There's an element of understanding exactly what's going on in cryptocurrency and the larger macro picture, right? So I could see us going down below 9,000 and really shaking out. If you guys think this is a shakeout, this isn't a freaking shakeout, right? A shakeout is going below 9,000. A shakeout is closing the weekly below the $9,500 gap, which everybody is terrified of price closing below. I could see price going down to 8,700. I could see price going down really to 8,000, to be quite honest with you. And then finding our bottom there. So I don't think the bottom's in just yet. I think that we're going to see the bottom over the next few weeks and or months. It really depends on, in my opinion, what happens at the gap. Does the gap get front run? Do we fill the gap? Does the market decide to push up from the gap? That's a logical possibility, and certainly one that has played out statistically in the past, and certainly one that's on everybody's mind. Keep in mind that the more something is popular and common, though, the more opportunity has to be front run, which is why I can see us not actually going down to 9.5. And it's possible to do bottom right now. That's great. It's cool. I don't think that's likely, though. I think that one main key, critical, important, understandable concept here is this. Look at the size of the candle, okay? We're on the weekly here, and let's just kind of zoom out, right? Now, let's look at the red candles, the red weekly candles that occurred on this run up from the recovery following the March meltdown. All right, so here we have the March meltdown, right? Just massive down move. Bitcoin going down to below $4,000 on BitMEX, for example, and slightly above $4,000 on most major exchanges, Bitfinex, for example, here. Okay, so basically we just start this upwards, just bullish climb ever since then. And let's look at the red candles. Let's look at the red weekly candles. Do you see any bearish engulfing candles? I don't. Just from here, here's the first recovery week. To the resistance up here at 12K. Do you see any bearish engulfing weekly candles? Nope. And by that, do you see any just big ass scary red weekly candles? No. What do big ass red scary weekly candles imply? That there's a lot of selling going on, right? If there's a lot of selling, then likely the market is going to continue to sell. If there's nothing but buying, then the market is likely going to continue to buy, unless you have a particular probability to pick tops and bottoms, which, by the way, most people suck at. Don Cannon, thank you for the 20 crones, my friend. Donation to buy some Theraflu. Stay healthy. Thank you so much, my friend. I do have black coffee today. This is a custom mug. I don't know why I'm pointing this out, but I just figured I would. This is a custom mug somebody engraved for me. A friend gave this to me. It is a cheap plastic cup, so it's not like they could have done better. Could have been ceramic or enamel, but I love my friends. So I am drinking nice black coffee today. And as Ivan on Tech would say, no milk, no sugar involved. Who needs that junk? So my main point that I just want to point out here is that from this run up from 3K, let's just say 3K, 4K to 12K, we didn't see any freaking selling. There was no selling. Okay, nothing that would imply selling. Look at these weekly candles. This one is the worst, but it just comes down and touches the open of the previous week and then bounces right back up. And then we have some just weak baby red candles. Nothing, no selling, right? And then we have, we push up. We have this weekly doji. Cool. If you were able to call this top due to a slew of support or the slowdown of momentum, great. But the main thing that I just look at that big red weekly candle. Now, it's possible that this does not lead to further selling, but it's unlikely. It's likely that this does lead to further selling. So a couple scenarios that I want you guys to be prepared for. One, we have 2 to 3 months of downside. Okay. In which case, there's no price target, right? Price targets are garbage. Okay. Just to let you guys know. Price targets are garbage. It is good to have a statistical take profit. You have to have a take profit level for a trade. But to just broadly call out like, well, if the market goes to 8 to 7 to 2 to 4, then it'll be bullish. None of that's real, right? The market is going to turn around when the market turns around. The market turns around when buyers step in. It's that simple. It's when sellers get exhausted and buyers step in. So, so if you guys wanted an initiation to short BTC, I think this is probably your best bet opportunity. And again, what I'm doing with my money, right? I'm hedged. Okay. I'm 70% hedged. And I will take the opportunity if price goes back up to the $11,000 region to put the other 30% on and perhaps even lever up my account. I think this is a good opportunity. Number two, this is just a pretty significant pullback and a bullish trend, and we could expect some price targets of 9.5, the gap of 8.7, the weekly super trend, maybe 8,000, which is a pretty good psychological number, maybe even 7,000, right? So maybe layering bids in that area. I think that is probably the highest risk, but however, that's the highest risk from a trading perspective. It's probably the most attractive opportunity from an investment standpoint, because again, I want to state unequivocally that it doesn't matter at what price you buy Bitcoin here. Okay. Anything, listen, this is going to sound insane, but I just want you guys to know how earnestly I believe this. It doesn't matter where you buy Bitcoin under 20,000 if you're holding Bitcoin for the long term. Let me state that again. It doesn't matter at what price you buy Bitcoin under 20,000 if you intend to hold Bitcoin for the long run. All right. Bitcoin Bitcoin is going to go above 20,000. It's going to have a new all-time high. It is going to outperform it's probably going to be the best performing asset in 5 and 10 years. Still, it is the best performing asset of the last 10 years. It's going to be the best performing asset in 10 years of the last 10 years again. Okay, so if you're holding Bitcoin for the long term, I don't really think it matters where you buy it as long as that number is below 20,000. So doesn't really matter. All right. Third, excuse me. That was number 2. So number 3, this is the bottom and you should go long. Which, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm playing all three. I'm hedged. I'll close my hedge when I feel it's appropriate to close my hedge. I am not sure if we have 8 more weeks of downside or 8 more days of downside. Don't know. I'll let you guys know as it becomes more clear. And 3, I am also playing a bounce here because I have put on some leverage long, and I'm in profit on those. At an entry, I think at 3. I'll pull up my buy bid. I'll pull up my buy bid here in a little bit. Okay. Moving on. We'll get to Ethereum separately a little bit. It makes me sad to hear. It makes me sad to hear Justin say that there was no selling. He's right, but I remember how many times I tried to short BTC on the way up. Yeah, and it's just TA can be complicated and it can be quite convoluted. And yes, we deal in probabilities, and most people don't like the way that traders talk because they call it wishy-washy, which is why I try to be as direct and honest with you guys as possible, because these aren't simple concepts, right? Even though the technicals, in my opinion, actually can be quite simple, it is and it's, as you guys know, it's what we focus on here. It's the emotional challenge. It's the follow through. It's the desire. It's the need to do. It's the need to do things. It's the need to put trades on. It's the need to over leverage. It's the desire to take more risk. It's the desire to move decimals around. And sometimes you just do the wrong thing, and that's okay. But a simple concept here is when you see buying on a macro time frame, you should be a buyer, and when you see selling on a macro time frame, best be a seller. So I think that we are seeing the first significant amount of selling. Could be a fake out, most likely not. Statistically likely to lead to more downside. So be prepared for that. All right. Don't get your moon boots on just yet. Although, have them in the corner. I think it's a good time to take the moon boots off for a little bit, set them aside, put the spacesuit on, prepare for impact. But have them within reach. Have the moon boots within reach. Because we might decide to just take a side stint onto the moon or some asteroid here. By the way, I did get a little concerned when I learned that there was going to be an asteroid that is going to impact the Earth the day before Election Day or shortly before Election Day. Perhaps you've heard of this. So it was a good opportunity for me to do some research. Now, happily, the asteroid that is going to impact the Earth, it's about like this big. Okay, so it's going to burn up in the atmosphere. Nothing to worry about, unless they're lying to us. Dun, dun, dun. But I don't think that they are. It would be more difficult for them. It would be more difficult for there to be misinformation. Like, that's the thing. In this day and age, it's more difficult to create misinformation than it is to create information if you research what you're studying, right? If you don't research what you're studying and you just listen to an opinion piece, then it's very easy to be misdirected, right? This is why, I'm a firm advocate for changing our education system. It's it's become a trope, right? And don't get me wrong, I believed this for the longest time. The mainstream media and the news and the politicians, and they're all lying to us. And, David Icke, the box in the corner of the room, is just filling your head with lies. Yeah, that's true. It is true. If you do no research, right? If you literally just do 5 seconds of research into any topic, then you will see sources. And you can very, very easily, quickly gather what the reality of the situation is, right? So there really is no excuse in today's age to have no opinion of your own, right? To have no idea of what the facts are behind what you state. If you state something in a public arena that you have no facts on, you deserve what you get. Because if you can say, hey, Google, what does this mean? All my things are going to... Thank you. Hey, Google, shut it down, please. I'm good. Right. So anyways, do your own research. All right. To the charts. All right, so I want to start off on the weekly, and I'm going to throw on some indicators that we haven't looked at too frequently here, but I think are germane. So here we are on the weekly chart of Bitfinex, BTC USD on the weekly. The Gann high-low, which is a very popular exit indicator or trend-following indicator, has flipped into the red. We did flip into the green over here, and then we had a pretty good bullish run that followed. Again, we flipped green around 8,000, 7,700. flipping red around 10,000. So again, not capturing the head or tails of the bullish trend, but capturing the body, right? And that's a good trade. That's a good 30% trade that you were able to capture in about 3 months, okay? And you're not going to be able to do that literally anywhere else without using excessive risk or leverage. Again, let me restate that unequivocally so that it's understood, because people often just want 100 X's or nothing. That's a 30% trade with no leverage on one asset in 3 months, okay? Go get that somewhere else. Okay. The CM Laguerre, which is pretty good for calling tops and bottoms, is not actually indicating a top here on Bitcoin. But I will say on the weekly, it's relatively slow to do so. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock into that. Now, IsaSpot is also not calling a market top. But again, here on the weekly, it's not showing a fantastic job at doing that. I don't actually have this particular setting on this template tuned for the weekly. I do have it tuned for the daily. So keep that in mind. Sorry about that. And looking at TD sequential, we are on a red 2. We are on a red 2. And say what you want about TD sequential. It's an indicator that I quite like. It's an indicator that I've used a lot. It's an indicator that I've kind of gotten away from using in my analysis, but I still look at it on the weekly. It's best on the weekly. It's not super great on the daily or the 4 hour or the 1 hour. It's good on the weekly. So let me state that again. Load up TD sequential, put it on a weekly chart of anything, and you can be pretty good at timing tops and bottoms. Put it on anything else, and you're going to have like mixed results, right? You know what I mean? Anyways, we are on a red 2 of 9. And what that typically is going to indicate here on the weekly is that we're going to continue moving down. When we get a green, and this will become a little bit easier if I do this. Here we go. So here's a little bit clearer TD sequential. Here we go. So pretty much the entire bullish move to the upside. Once we get a weekly green 1, we continue moving up until we got the green 9, a perfected 9. And then we had about 6 weeks of cool off. And when was the time to buy back in? Nowhere in here. This was risky. You didn't know what was going to happen. Although we had symmetrical consolidation following a bullish push to the upside. So price action would say be a buyer. But then we get another green 1 and we push up, right? To a 6, which a 6 and 7 are often the times when counts get interrupted. And now we're on a red 2 of 9, right? We've had a completed first weekly red, and often, although less so than the green numbers, when we flip on the weekly, we often continue on in that direction and run the count up to at least 3 or 4. So I would expect, just based on this conservatively, at least 3 more weeks of downside. But place your bets where you'd like to place your bets. Now, here we have IsaSpot a little bit better tuned to the weekly, excuse me. All right. So again, IsaSpot calling the bottom back here in December of 2018, calling the top in June of 2019, which, let's see. Yeah, we had another little bit of a run up, but again, calling that downwards movement pretty good, calling a good time to sell on a perfected 9 as well. The exact week, no, it was the following week when we had the perfected 9. Again, IsaSpot calling the weekly top over here on 2 weeks ago. So pretty much right at that 12K resistance, 11.7, beautiful place to sell. And we've got a long ways to go on the downside. All right. Long ways to go on the downside. We've got we broke the pivots to the downside as well. No, actually, sorry. That CosLoad's pivot alerts is kind of broken there. So, and we have no weekly bottom feeder signals. So this does look like a turnover, and I think we're going to get some more downside here on Bitcoin, if I haven't stated that succinctly enough. Going to the daily. We already covered what PTP would say. Do we get bottoming signals? Yes. Bottom feeder is calling for a BTC bottom right here and a local bounce to 10,775. That's the trade that I'm playing out. We are also getting IsaSpot in oversold territory and the CM Laguerre calling for a bottom as well. So again, local bottom here does seem likely. What does TD sequential say? Well, if we close today the way that we are, we're going to be on a 1 count. By the way, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, red numbers, and turning over not at 6, but right around the vicinity of 6. I've heard that 5 is one number prior to 6, which is 6 and 7 is often where we get interrupted. So if we get a green 1, I would like to see us march up for about 3 to 4 more days of upside. So again, total synopsis, I am playing a bounce. I'd like to see upwards price movement for about 2 to 4 days. And then I'm going to be rehedging, reshorting, and trying to take price down to the $9,500 area, which I think is a logical target. 10.7 to 9.5 is a good area for the next bounce. However, I will state this. Long-term, fundamental behind everything. Do not get punked out of your Bitcoin position over the next 3 months, regardless of what happens. Whether we correct to 7, whether we correct to 5, possible. And people that say that can't happen are not giving you good financial advice, in my opinion. Like, we can absolutely go to $5,000. We can absolutely go to $7,000. Okay. Don't get punked out of your long-term holds. And so what I mean by this is that I do think that the next 3 months, as price is moving down, might be, I don't want to say the last, because I don't want to imply the FOMO on it, but it might be the next best opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin at sub $10,000 prices. Okay. And I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not, and that's what I'm going to be doing with my money. Now, I don't really need to add to my Bitcoin position. I'm quite happy with what I have on my ledger, but I'm not going to lie. There are some dividend stocks that I do want to get out of. I'm not going to lie. I still hold some financial dividend stocks, and I had purchased those with the intention of never selling them, but I'm going to do like Buffett, and I'm going to dump those positions. So, for example, I hold some Bank of America. I hold some Wachovia. There's some other financial bank stocks that I hold. And I'm going to go ahead and do the plunge, and I'm going to exit completely out of the, as far as dividend stocks go, out of the traditional financial sector. Okay. So I'm going to sell all those positions, and I am going to be moving that capital into Bitcoin long term, maybe some Ethereum, but right now the idea is just Bitcoin. So over the next 3 months, don't get punked out of your Bitcoin position, because this might be the last best opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin at sub $10,000 prices. Don't trade it. Don't move it around. Don't buy DeFi with it. Don't buy Ethereum with it. Just buy Bitcoin with it. And the reason why I would say that is because I know that Bitcoin will appreciate over the next 10 years. I don't know what Ethereum will do. I feel very strongly about Ethereum. Ethereum is almost as large of a position now as Bitcoin, but I am more confident in Bitcoin. So if I want to get on the air and say something to you people who I respect, who respect me, who come into my Discord, some of you will come into my personal life, it's Bitcoin, right? It's Bitcoin. So take that to the bank. Let's see here. Moving on. Let's get to Ethereum. Now that it's 12:44. How do I do this? How do I start talking and then just an hour disappears? Okay. All right. ETH. Okay. Ethereum. We'll start off on the weekly here, and then we'll get to the daily. So again, very similarly, do we see that large initiation of red selling? Yes, we do. We see it right here. Let's go to PTP. Now we do have our super trend. We need to get our indicator last value label. We do have our super trend down at 254.03, meaning that Ethereum can correct another $100 to stay in a bullish trend for the weekly. OBV is still positive, but creeping down toward the zero line. Our MACD leader is still positive. Our QQE mod is still positive, and so is our IFT RSI. So the weekly trend is still bullish. Price can still correct down to 250, 254, and be bullish. Now let's look at a few other things outside of PTP. We did basically end on a 9 count. Last week closed a green 9, not a perfected 9 because of the correction, but it's also a swap, so we can see it. You might say that it's a failed 9. This particular implementation of TD Sequential, which is from JD Lim, and I don't put this up to rub it in anybody's face. I know that JD Lim doesn't let anybody get access to it, and yes, it is kind of a goal of mine to reprogram this indicator at some point in time, but I put that TD Sequential video out like 2 years ago, and for like an entire year, anybody could have gotten access to it, right? It was a very open and welcoming Telegram channel. Unfortunately, JD Lim has gone dark. He's not adding anybody to it. However, this is the best implementation of TD Sequential that's available. I've used TI Sequential from Tone Vase, and big shout out to Tone Vase, a lot of respect for him, but this is better. This is better. So anyways, for those of you who don't have access, who cannot get access, i.e. you didn't get it when I put the video out, I would recommend that you use Glasses or perhaps do some more research on TD Sequential implementations on TradingView, because there are some good ones out there. Again, I would recommend Glasses because that used to be the go-to for a long time. Glasses implementation of TD Sequential is good. Just doesn't have all the bells and whistles, Klops, Klopfman, TDST, support and resistance, all of these things. TD initiation lines, the aggressive counts, the alternative aggressive counts. And yes, I'm wearing shorts. It's hot in here. But yeah, we are on a weekly 2 of 9. So again, just you know, the audience has spoken, right? 4 more years of downside, at least 4 more weeks of downside. And ISISbot calling the weekly top over here. And that's about it. But I heard my phone ring. That was weird. I'm hearing things. The market has spoken. So just looking at some weekly price targets here and see if we can get some agreements with that. I think decent downside targets would be 289. I would move that 231 up to about 254, but be prepared to catch that wick. And then if you really think we're going to have a massive correction down to 172.72, I don't have any strong feelings about that. I think 250 is a valid correction. Here. And where would we be wrong about this? Well, if price can get back above 400. So where would our stop loss be on a weekly time frame? 435.95. Give the position room to breathe. Do we close a weekly above this level, breaking above previous support, or breaking above previous resistance? Well, then let's go. Let's shoot for the moon. But I think that's unlikely to happen in the short term. Let's go down to the daily. Going down to the daily, playing the bounce here from ISISbot and from bottom feeder. So here we have bottom feeder, proprietary indicator that we programmed, calling the bottom. We're on a 5 of 9 here on the daily. So again, 6 is often where we'll get an interrupted count. Bitcoin is always already pushing to the upside here on the daily. So I think we can get a nice movement up here to 395, retouching 400 from below. That might be a little aggressive. Potentially you might want to take some profits around the 360 level. It's only a $12 movement, but it's a profitable trade, especially with leverage. Up to that 395. I think interspersing your bids there would be a good idea. We do see some bottoming behavior from the CM Laguerre, and ISISbot is not quite oversold. But Ethereum moves quicker, moves faster, moves stronger than Bitcoin, or has lately because of the DeFi craze, and therefore I do like it from that perspective. Going to Quadriga, we do get a little bit more of a conservative price target there. 388.36 would be one ATR measured from our current price target. Stop loss of 288. But again, keep in mind that bottom feeder is giving us a little bit better. If I can hammer in on where the hell that is. 277. No, so 288 is the better stop loss off the daily right here, but this is an aggregated stop loss and an aggregated TP. So 395 and 277 is what bottom feeder's calling out to play that bottom in the dip, which I am. All right, moving on from Ethereum. So summary. So we're all on the same page. More downside, but we're going to bounce right here. Play the bounce, reshort, hedge down, take profits. All right, let's talk about Sushi Swap. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Sushi Swap. This is the contract. This is the token transaction. This is the token contract for Sushi Swap right here. We're going to talk about this in just a little bit. Initial inputs coming from Binance. Let's see here. So we've got some interesting stuff. So let's just pull up Sushi Swap's website. All right. I think this is Sushi's website. Pretty sure. Not 100% sure. I do know the things, and I'm going to talk about this. So let's talk about Sushi. All right. Actually, you know what? It's 12:50. We've been going for about an hour. So let's just take a brief pause. Let me go top up my coffee here. Give me just a brief moment to rest my voice. Been talking nonstop about the technicals and obviously the fundamentals kind of going behind price for Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're getting into Sushi Swap. We're going to talk about some DeFi. We're going to talk about kind of hot, cheap alts right now. And you know, what else can we play with this bounce, right? Am I just playing Bitcoin and Ethereum leveraged? For the most part, yes. But there are some altcoin positions that I haven't allocated into yet. I haven't gotten with Alex and the team to really decide where we're going to throw our portfolio at. But there's probably a good 15 to 20% of our portfolio that I am willing to speculate on with some of these coins. And I will be putting out, hopefully this weekend, I'll have time to do it this weekend. I will be putting out my, irregardless of the dump, 5 coins that I would recommend individuals put into their portfolio that I have in my portfolio that I plan to hold for the long term throughout this next cycle. So with that being said, we're going to take a brief break. We're going to plug what needs to be plugged. If you guys want to support the channel, make sure to do the things. Subscribe. The reason why subscribing is important so that you don't miss when we go live. Hit the like button. The reason that's important is because it gets the content out there. And if you like what we talk about, your friends, family, people you don't even like would like to see what we talk about too. Socials. One of these ways, there we go. Boom. Socials were just posted right there. You can follow us around. I highly recommend following us on Twitter, hopping in the Discord, because that's where we do the things. And for just a moment here, we're going to go plug Bybit. It is an affiliate link. If you click on the affiliate link at no cost to yourself, the team, not just myself, will make a little bit of money off your trading fees. However, Bybit has got Bybit's the exchange that I trade on. I don't trade on BitMEX anymore. I don't even trade the alt perpetuals over there. The only other exchange that offers leverage that I would recommend at this current point in time is FTX. We do some business over there, but Bybit is where I do almost all of my swinging. If you click on the affiliate link, you do get, I don't know, it's like 45, 90 bucks, all kinds of cool stuff. We just did the WSOT, World Series of Trading. Shout out to everybody who took part in that. I've got the WSOT stuff right here. I know you guys can't see it because of the split screen, but we will be giving that stuff away. I have not yet thought of a good way to do it. Let me get some opinions in the chat. How would you guys like me to do this giveaway? You want me to do something on Twitter? Do you want me to do something in the Discord? Do you want me to do something here on YouTube? Again, the stuff that we have to give away is the t-shirt. I'm going to keep the box because I think the box is cool. Let me get this. About that. What's up? Here we go. Oh yeah. Hey baby. All right, so we got a sweet t-shirt. A sweet t-shirt to give away. Unworn. We got cool glasses. We have the what do they call that on Hellraiser? What do they call that? I know the Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. I did read that, but the Hellraiser movies. Again, the first two were cool, but Hellraiser, a Pinhead, I feel so sorry for him because all the movies suck after that. But whatever this thing is, Necronomicon, QB thingy, this is cool. I'm going to give that away. And if nobody wants it, I'm going to give it to Jason. And then this really sweet backpack. I'm not going to lie, I'd like the backpack for myself, but you guys are awesome. I'm going to give it all away. I'm going to keep this, though, because I think I can store some cool stuff in there. All right, WSOT. Swag, give it away. Recommendations for how to give it away. If I knew Justin was giving that away, I would have stolen it. When we come back, we're going to talk about sushi, we're going to talk about DeFi, and we're going to talk about what maybe you should be doing with your capital right now that you might not consider. But first, a shout from the affiliate link on Bybit, and then perhaps a Bitcoin weather report, and we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Can't catch a break over on BitMEX with all the wicks? Try a better alternative at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com and rest easy for a change.
Hey Justin, I am live at the latest BitMEX liquidation area and it is a sight to be seen around here. There are things going way over my head. People are angry. That guy over there, I believe his name is Reggie, just lost 13 Bitcoin, but I don't believe him. The fucker's wearing shorts. Don't you get near me, Reggie! Alright. But anyways, I mean, it's a crazy place down here. Everyone's saying that their stop losses were wrong, and everyone's blaming the market, but I'm pretty sure they're all just a bunch of idiots out here. Back to you, Justin.
Oh, what? No, sorry. Yeah, somebody's getting fired for that. All right, back to the show. Thank you guys for holding with us. Hopefully you guys got topped off on your refreshing beverage, whether that is hot coffee, whether that is a chilled wine or a warm wine. You know, I used to drink wine out of the box when I was younger. It's cool, not judging. Don't do substances anymore, and that is what really helps. GBU Wally coming in with the $15 super chat. Thank you so much. Shout out to you and Gunbot University. He says, here's how to give away the shirt. Give it to the winner of Epic Super Chat Rap Battles of History. Dun, dun, dun. Justin replenishing energy by doing lines offset. Not offset. No, they're right here. Just I didn't know that residue was still there. Yeah, lines of sushi. Got to chop up that Yam Finance, that YFI, and what's that other one? The kimchi. The kimchi. You got to do lines of the kimchi, man. You got to rail it. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in crypto, and then we'll kind of bounce out, look at the broader macroeconomic charts, CFDs, Forex, whatnot, and then we'll do Q&A. All right, so sushi on everybody's mind. So Sushi Swap, this is last month's darling DeFi project. Darling DeFi project. Seems to have had its honeymoon ended quite abruptly. Now, Sushi Swap was effectively, for those of you who don't know, a liquidity pool clone of Uniswap, okay? One ostensibly built to strip power away from venture capital funds and whales and return it to the decentralized community of crypto traders and degens. But Sushi Swap's fortunes and community sentiment, let's say, have turned on a dime over the weekend when it was revealed that its creator, or at least its lead developer, the anonymous developer known as Chef Nomi, sold the project's entire development fund, which accounted for 10% of the entire supply of sushi, and transferred control of the project to FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF Alameda. Now, the work is currently underway to revive Sushi Swap in the eyes of the community, but the project's reputation is certainly for the moment tarnished. A little over a week ago, actually a little bit over a week after its initial debut, Chef Nomi swapped his sushi tokens. This happened on Saturday evening for 37,400 Ethereum, worth about $13 million, in a move that strongly resembles what we would call not a rug pull, but certainly an exit scam. Those tokens were dedicated ostensibly to the project's development fund, and the future of the project's development now is uncertain, as this anonymous creator has abandoned ship and ceded control of the whole decentralized application to the aforementioned FTX CEO Sam, SBF. Now, Sushi Swap, as I said, was a fork of the Uniswap platform, and its creators, Chef Nomi, repeatedly stated that Sushi Swap was intended to recreate the success of Uniswap without the backing of big-time VC firms and investors. Instead, it was presented as a unique opportunity for the wider community to build a grassroots Uniswap alternative. Sure. Sushi Swap was identical to Uniswap v2 in nearly every way but one. It did feature a token that was intended to appreciate in value. Now, Uniswap is currently underway building V3, but they have not launched their own token. So they still have that ace in the sleeve, which I think they would be smart to launch. Now, the Sushi token, the namesake token of the Sushi Swap platform, was intended to address and replace a contentious design feature in Uniswap. Essentially, in a Uniswap, the development team can pull a lever and direct 17% of the earnings of the protocol to a designated address. The remaining 83% would still go to liquidity providers, LPs, those who stake their liquidity on Uniswap. Now, it is expected that this 17% would be shared among the founding team and investors whenever it is implemented. It has not been implemented yet. The feature, as I said, has not been activated, however. With Sushi, the mechanism remained the same. However, the 17% of earnings that I just mentioned would instead be distributed to Sushi holders instead. Now, Sushi Swap kicked off its liquidity mining to great success, seeing upwards of $1 billion in the protocol at one point in time. To mine Sushi tokens, all you had to do was provide liquidity to a Uniswap pool and lock those subsequent LP tokens in the Sushi smart contract. Eventually, the plan was to migrate this liquidity from Uniswap to Sushi Swap, right? So I remember all of the kind of FUD that was going around. At one point, it was like 80% of Sushi liquidity was going to go into Uniswap. People were talking about. Obviously, that did not happen. All right. So let's pull up another link as I continue telling you this brief story, and then we'll get into some more links here. So everything was pretty much going according to plan. The community for SushiSwap was ripe in anticipation for how the sushi experiment would change the DeFi landscape, but all of this suddenly came undone over the weekend when on the news that the project's lead developer and head cheerleader, Chef Nomi, liquidated his stash of sushi and sent the price crashing 50% in just minutes. So here is Chef Nomi from SushiSwap, his Twitter thread. If we take a look at the Twitter thread coming from Chef Nomi, he insists that this was not an exit scam, and he believes that he deserved the $13 million payday for the project's successful rollout and week-long lifespan. His detractors, however, point out that all he really did was copy and fork the code of an existing successful project, Uniswap, that itself was built over 3 years of blood, sweat, and tears. For perspective here, Nomi's profit from forking Uniswap is marginally higher than the amount of funding Uniswap has raised since its inception. It's very easy to destroy, very hard to build. And now, until Chef Nomi abandoned the project, SushiSwap was genuinely on its way to building a very robust and dedicated community, so it would appear from the outside in. Again, I'm in their Discord. However, one comment that I found amusing was that after being in that Discord for 30 minutes, a lot of people supported Chef Nomi's exit scam. All is not lost, though. And a new plan to restore SushiSwap has come to life thanks to the FTX CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, Chef Nomi has transferred the administrative keys to Sam so that the FTX CEO could take over. And he also happens to be, Sam happens to be the biggest farmer of sushi and previously submitted a proposal to migrate SushiSwap to Solana to support their latest project, Serum. So Serum is FTX's dApp, kind of like Uniswap thing, and it's built on Solana, and they want it to take over, right? So migrating that liquidity seems to make sense. Now, again, SushiSwap was intended to be bootstrapped on the back of the existing Uniswap platform, but a migration away from Uniswap was planned to eventually take place and launch Sushi as its own standalone liquidity pool and automated market maker platform. Now, let's look at, here we go. So if we look at the FTX CEO's Twitter thread, we can see this series of posts, which acknowledges his acquisition of the admin keys to the SushiSwap project, but also mentions canceling the planned migration away from Uniswap with alternative plans yet to be determined, TBA, all right? Now, the Sushi team insists that the migration away from Uniswap is still on the roadmap, and Sushi's price has since recovered. It's up 86% today. But and that's happened since the chef has exited the kitchen, let's say. But Sushi's future is obviously very unclear. The project has seriously tarnished its main competitive edge against Uniswap, and that is its community, right? You can't really exit scam and rug pull on your community to a degree without pissing people off. Now, having a community with a strong financial incentive to use SushiSwap, once it launched, gave the project a shot at its success. Obviously, Uniswap is the clear decentralized exchange leader. It facilitates more volume than even Coinbase now on most days. Uniswap v3 is expected to launch in the near future, and that's inevitably going to improve how the decentralized exchange works. Now, there's no way that SushiSwap, which is just a fork of Uniswap v2, is going to compete with Uniswap v3 on features alone unless they actually do some development. Again, the only thing that Chef Nomi did was just change the faucet from where that 17% goes when the lever is pulled. They didn't do anything. They didn't build anything. They didn't write any code. There's nothing. It's garbage, okay? But that doesn't mean that garbage can't pump. And if you have loyal users and you have a strong community, you can do great things. You can establish market share. And, as Alex is wont to say, like, everything's a scam until it's not, right? So let's look at Tron, right? Tron was a scam, okay? Tron was a clone of Ethereum that launched with nothing but marketing, okay? Justin Sun grabbed a ton of money, and I don't know what his intentions were when he initially launched Tron, okay? However, because of the success of Tron has now been able to employ developers, build decentralized applications. There's actually a lot of DeFi happening on Tron right now. So one could argue that Tron started off as a scam and is now no longer a scam because of its success and the strength of its community. So again, very similar to SushiSwap. Something can start off as a scam. Have you guys heard of the central bank? And become not a scam because just enough people use it, and then people are like, screw it, let's just build on this. Okay. So I don't want to cut with too broad of a knife right here. But with the broader community losing faith, SushiSwap's long-term success is not as certain as it was just a few weeks ago. Now, obviously a lot to say here about SushiSwap, and I want to thank the team for helping prepare that write-up. But let's look at a few things. Let's go into the conspiracy theories, right? And we'll just mention the conspiracy theories and we'll talk about them briefly, and then we'll look at the price of SushiSwap and what I think is going to happen in the short term here. So first thing here is if we look at the SushiSwap Discord, we can see a lot of conspiracy theories. One, obviously this is just going to come with any kind of situation like this. One is that Chef Nomi and maybe even ZeroX Maki, who are the admins of the Discord and Telegram, are actually, or Chef Nomi is Band Protocol CTO. I've also heard Link's CTO. That there was political collusion, or potential collusion at least, between CZ of Binance and Chef Nomi, because isolated margin contracts for SushiSwap, i.e. the ability to short, launched just moments before Chef Nomi declared his exit scam. So imagine cashing in that sushi and then having a massive short on sushi simultaneously as the price plunged 50% in minutes. Seems like somebody definitely made money on that maneuver. And then, of course, there is the speculation that SBF Alameda was behind Sushi to begin with. Again, they're the largest liquidity farmers on the project, so that Chef Nomi is actually Sam or a sock puppet of Sam. And then, of course, there's the speculation that that Sushi, if these individuals are employed by Band or Link, Band, were behind Zeus's Capital's recent hit piece on Link. Okay, if you guys are familiar, Zeus Capital put out this very scathing report on Link, and it is speculated that Band is actually behind that because Band Protocol is the second runner up to the Oracle money grab, let's say. Okay, so random speculation. However, what is interesting here, if we look at the token contract for SushiSwap, we can see that the very first input of 10 Ethereum, the very first input came from Binance. So one could say that there is definitely some potential collusion between Binance and Sushi here. Let's go look at Elon Gall under the breach over here, tweeting that the anonymous creator of an Ethereum project named SushiSwap has just possibly exit scammed, earning himself about 17,971 Ethereum. Now this is actually more. It was actually 34,000 Ethereum when all was said and done. And you can actually see here in the exact same transaction, that Chef Nomi removed almost 2.5 million sushi and the resulting Ethereum liquidity from Uniswap, and in the same transaction swapped all of that sushi for Ethereum, cashing out again with about 37,000 here, but again after fees is about 34,000 Ethereum. Here's W1 over on Twitter. Chef Nomi, which he's actually incorrect about this, it was 0x Maki, was doing an Ask Me Anything just a few hours before this exit scam on WeChat, talking to the Chinese community right before the tweet came out from Chef Nomi that he had converted the sushi development fund into Ethereum and was exit scamming. So here's some quotes from that. And again, just correcting here that it was not Chef Nomi, but 0x Maki, who says that he is going to go public and not be anonymous. I highly doubt that. And then yes, here is the harsh lesson for the DeFi community article that we pulled from as some of this write-up. So listen, let's all that. Let's go look at let's go pull up ChartX so we can actually look at sushi on Uniswap here. Let it load for a second. Challenge investor with a $3 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Thoughts on Theta? Sorry, way late. No problem, dude. Let me cover Theta when we get to the Q&A. I quite like Theta. I think it's a good project. Certainly, we look at that. Let's put that here. Audience engagement and Theta. I got you, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching as well, my friend. All right. So let's see here. So this is the 7th. So it was the 5th later on. So here we can see the price plunge, almost 75%, I believe. I don't think it was quite there where the announcement was made. Perhaps it wasn't the 6th. It was right around here, around 8. It was right around here. when the announcement was made by Chef Nomin. You can already see the pre-dumping prior to that, okay? The announcement was made, price moved down almost 70%, 50%, depending on where you want to get it. Immediately rebounded over 100%. So that was a good tradable bounce, and we find ourselves roughly around the $2.82 mark. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just look at Sushi Swap in and of itself. I don't see a ton of volume coming in. We can see the volume coming in here on this push to the upside, which even if you didn't catch this initial bounce, you could have caught this very profitable 20% pullback trade right here. I don't really have any thoughts on Sushi Swap. I think that if you want to throw $1,000 into it, go right ahead. It could go up, it could go down. I would not be banking long-term on this because I'm unclear on the fundamentals. What I will say is that things like Sushi Swap, they're low cap. Well, maybe sushi isn't low cap, but they're high risk degen trades. Okay. So I'm not going to fault anybody for throwing $1,000 into sushi. Obviously, price is quite depressed, but just keep in mind that if the developer is exit scammed, then there are a couple cycles that are left, right? Obviously, there's 90% of the liquidity that's still out there that hasn't been cashed out. That money is still there. And it's, with Alameda stepping in, it is quite possible that we are going to see something positive out of Sushi Swap. However, let's be real here. It just could be a publicity stunt for FTX to put their name out there and give some marketing to Serum, to their Solana project, to their Uniswap alternative. So I think that's probably what's most likely going on. I don't think that FTX is actually going to do anything to revive the Sushi Swap community. I think they're going to pillage the community and convert them all over into just do whatever they can to pump up Serum, which by the way is a pretty good project. So if you wanted something that potentially is a better thing to do with your money is to look into Serum. But I'm not going to give any opinions. I'm not going to give any buy or sell recommendations on Sushi Swap. We've had a little bit of a price plunge over here, but TA is not the best. TA is not going to be the best. TA is going to help us time these ups and downs, these bips and bobs, but you need to know whether or not your risk profile, your risk tolerance, even is going to allow you to be doing something like messing around with Sushi Swap. And keep in mind that with that $1,000 put in, you're still looking at like $30 to $50 transaction fees on Ethereum, although gas prices have come down a little bit since the weekend. So, if I had to say, if I had to look at Sushi Swap right here, and I just had to trade the raw technicals, I kind of like this steep plunge to the downside. How much have we recovered here from peak to trough? 30% dip. I actually think that we're going to push a little bit higher here on Sushi Swap. I'd like to see Sushi Swap come up here, and I don't want to say test the highs, but about 15% more to the upside around 323. Not necessarily the best thing to mess around with if you are taking that kind of risk. You're really kind of looking for that 10, 15, 20, 50x. For something like a DeFi project. So I would try to scoop it up anywhere below $2 that I could, if we so get that chance, and look to take this breakout if it occurs. That's really all I have to say, honestly, about Sushi Swap. And I think that's fair. And let's see. Total Ethereum 3 buy, 3 buy, 3 buy, 6 buy. 27 sell, 82 buy at 284. Yeah, so we had somebody buy in with 82 Ethereum at 284. So that's a pretty decent position to hold down. 10,000 in liquidity. 37 sold at 282. So just transferring liquidity there. And yeah, there's a whole lot more information we could look at with the holder list and everything. Obviously, the holders have transitioned quite a bit, but just trade safely and don't put more than $1,000 in the Sushi Swap, guys. Just don't do that. There's better buys out there, and unfortunately, we can't do. I don't have any information from Sentiment on holder distribution, and if you guys want. What I will be doing. I don't really care about Sushi Swap, to be quite honest with you. It's not anything that I ever played or want to play. But I certainly can do more research and get more information on Sushi to see if this is a tradable bounce to play. I think that largely the markets are going to move up. So if Sushi Swap is your flavor, I think that the markets are going to be pushing up over the next 2 to 4 days. So opportunities are there. But in the macro, I think that things are going to continue to pull back. All right, that's all I got for Sushi. Things that we're going to be talking about this week coming up are going to be Plutus, Celo, or CeeLo, however you want to talk about it. CeeLo, I did acquire a position in CeeLo. Not huge, but I did get a position in CeeLo. Plutus, I want to talk about for the UK customers over there. And then we're going to be talking about we're going to be kind of preluding into the 5 coins that I'm going to be announcing this weekend with a new pre-recorded video. I'll give you a hint. One of the coins starts with a B and ends in a T. Dun, 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 dun. And one of them starts with a D and ends in an A. All right. Let's see here. Let's get into a brief look. I want to look at some of the notes that me and Alex came up with here. Take a look at Alex's analysis. Now, one thing that we've been following is the dollar, right? You have to understand what the dollar is doing on the other side of the chart. Remember, we're trading things against the dollar. Excuse me. Are you done? Are you done down there? You good? Okay. So this is the Dixie. This is the dollar index. There are other ways to look at the dollar's strength relative to other currencies. I like the market breadth indicators, for example, which we're going to be debuting here relatively soon. So we are going to have our own proprietary breadth indicator. But let's look at the Dixie here. The Dixie has made 3 drives down. This is a price action pattern called the 3 drives pattern. Okay, 1, 2, 3 drives. And then we can measure it peak to trough, looking for the breakout here of roughly the $95 area on the 95, at least on the Dixie, looking for that to push up. So again, I would look for a push from 95 all the way up to 99 on the dollar index. I would like to see the dollar recovery. I don't want to say I'd like to see the dollar recovery here, but just if we get back above 95 on the Dixie here, just keep in mind that that is going to accelerate the pullbacks in the market, right? Stock market bloodbath, and again, a cryptocurrency bloodbath as well. So that would be definitely leading to the strength. And one thing I would be watching, if you're unsure, which I am, whether we're going to see, 8 more days of pullback and then continuation of the bullish trend, which would be coinciding with the dollar continuing to push down, or the dollar makes a recovery here and cryptocurrency markets, stock markets, all markets are going to take a hit relative to their dollar valuation. Okay. In which case, again, the best place to be is hedged in playing small bips and bobs, right? I think it's the safest place. We're not, no offense, guys, but we are currently out of, hey man, just buy everything. Stocks only go up. I think if you push forward, with that mentality that stonks and cryptos only go up right now, they have been. They may continue to, but I am uncertain of that right now. And I think that it is unintelligent, and I think it is overly reckless to hold that thought in light of the sell side volume that's come inside of the sell side liquidity that's come into the market. So I think the better, tricky, difficult thing for you guys to do is hedge, move into stable coins, and just take a break. If you haven't been making gains in this market, then you're likely to have even less success pushing forward now when things are really about timing short-term dips, right? You really have to be an active trader to really max out your capital moving forward over the next few months, in my opinion. Unless this is just a massive pullback and we're going to push up from here, but that's unclear. So I think if you want to maximize your returns in the safest way possible, you would be hedging, i.e. moving into stable coins. By the way, somebody asked earlier, but I will answer that now. What would I recommend? As far as moving into stable coins? I would recommend DAI. I would recommend DAI and USDC. Okay. Now, personally, I still use quite a bit of Tether. And I think that that's just fine. But I think that if you guys want to feel better about what you're doing, assuming you're not doing anything illegal, DAI and USDC. USDC, if you've been doing anything nefarious, don't use USDC because you can get blacklisted. However, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're just a regular trader, USDC is absolutely fine. Coinbase and Circle, most legit companies out there, they're not going anywhere. So I would say Tether, but if you feel iffy about that, DAI and USDC, 50-50. Okay. Next chart here from Alex regarding the Dixie, to break this down with a little bit more clarity and get more into the technicals here. All right. So we can see that on a more macro scale on the weekly here. All right. We can see that break of a long-term support trend line, right? Which again, we can imply that we're going to see a lot more further downside and continuation of the upside market. However, looking at that 3 drives pattern on the daily and looking at the weekly cross here on time transformation, I would be hesitant to call this the bottom. I would be looking for at least a bounce here, which means that markets are going to continue to subside. And if we get back above 95 and confirm this as a fake out and the dollar really starts tearing from here as we get this flight into safety, then I would look for markets to much more significantly correct. And hopefully I'm doing justice to Alex's analysis. I'll bring him on tomorrow and he can clarify and quantify exactly what I meant by all this. And yeah, here we go. Again, on this is Bitcoin dominance on the weekly, looking at, yeah, so Dixie pushing up, Bitcoin dominance rising, and he is kind of pointing out here a flight into safer assets in their respective industries, which I completely agree with, right? So Bitcoin dominance putting in this weekly reversal right here, or potential weekly reversal, would be indicative of altcoins continuing to correct and money pushing into Bitcoin. However, that does not necessarily mean, unfortunately, that the price is going to push up. If you don't understand that, I don't know how to explain it succinctly. All right, this is the S&P 500 CFD on Owanda. Okay, daily turn, big sell side volume coming in. Are we simply retesting previous all-time highs? This is possible. So this is the previous all-time high on the S&P. As you can see, we overcame that. We have pulled back. I don't see signs here of a daily bottom, but let's just watch and see. This is going to be, again, I think this is indicative of pullback to support. We're going to push up for the next 2 to 4 days broadly across all markets, and then the jury's out. I think we have more downside. I think it's overwhelmingly clear based on the higher time frame charts on the weeklies that we have more downside. Tradable bounce. Don't get over your skis. Now, however, when we look into the flight and the safety, remember that the dollar is going to pull back. So what does that mean with other markets that aren't necessarily, that are indirectly correlated to the dollar? Let's look at the, I know that Alex is quite excited about some of the European markets here. Let's look at the France 40 Euro index over here on Owanda. This is a tradable CFD, actually one of the most profitable CFDs that we trade. We do like to trade the France 40 Euro here. France 40 Euro breaking down out of this kind of ascending wedge. I'm not exactly sure what he was attempting to convey here. I know that he is quite bullish on these markets. I do see the high volume, the high buy side liquidity stepping in here as indicated by time transformations on natural volume, and this bottoming above zero, which is a continuation pattern that Alex does love to trade and he is quite successful at doing. So Alex looking for the European markets, particularly the French markets, to kind of melt up here. And here's the Deutsch 30 Eurobond here. Yeah, so breaking above, breaking this trend line to the downside, putting in a little bit of reaccumulation, and then pushing up, showing a sign of strength here above the 12,900 mark, which I quite like as well. So bullish, particularly from Alex's corner on the Eurobond and on the not the Eurobond. What the fuck am I saying? On the Deutsch index, and obviously on the French index as well. We'll get some time tomorrow to break these down a little bit more and look at some of these. Overall, I am pretty. Personally, I am pretty concise in how I feel. Tradable bounce broadly across the entire market, go long for about 2 to 4 days, and then look to hedge, correct, and move into stability. All right. With that being said, let's move into, let me see what else that we have here. Just a second. Okay. All right, so let's move into the Q&A section. We'll do about 15, 20 minutes of Q&A and answer you guys' questions. I've got some good ones and some chart requests. Before we do that, by the way, guys, I do want to say, give a shout out to give a shout out to our partner over here, Spectre Security Coin. If you guys care about cryptocurrency and privacy, which is something we advocate a whole lot about, I highly recommend you check out our friends at Spectre Security. Of all the projects out there that we've partnered with, I know for a fact that they're working hard to put security and privacy back in your hands. If you're unclear about how to keep your crypto safe, if you're unclear about how to use a hardware wallet, if you're unclear about how to store your cryptocurrency securely, definitely go check out, get a one-on-one consultation with them, and they will help you out, beef up your security game, whether that's how your computer is set up, whether that's how your networks are set up. Go check out them at spectre.krakencryptocurrency.com, SPECTRE. Got like a pop-up here somewhere. I'm not sure where it is. Got this thing. Oh yeah. But check out our friend Spectre, SPECTRE.krakencryptocurrency.com. Get their one-on-one consultation. A good buy. I would definitely be doing that with some of my crypto profits. You can use the code GETCRACKING, GETCRACKING at checkout. Get a 10% discount on all their services, GETCRACKING CRACKING. And I would like to say full details of our agreement are down below. I don't think we get any. I should know this. Anyways, moving on. Let's see here. All right, let's go into Q&A. And I'll start off with our super chats that rolled in. Again, Don Cannon, 20 crones. Thank you so much, my friend. Wants me to buy some Theraflu. Stay healthy. I will, absolutely, my friend. Shout out to you and everybody watching from Norway. Let's see here if you are indeed in Norway. If that even is your real name, Don Camden. GB Wally doing the epic super chat rap battles of history. You know, I kind of like that. But we could do for the t-shirt, right? Yeah, just for the shirt. Epic super chat rap battles of history. We could do like epic comment rap battles of history. We could do that. Let's do that. I like that idea. It's the t-shirt. And I'm going to honor Wally's idea here. So for the next week, or just today. Now I'll give you guys the week. That way I can talk about it for a few days. Post a, leave a comment below. Leave a comment below the videos. It can be really any video with some sort of rap lyric that is germane to the World Series of Trading or to cracking cryptocurrency or to cryptocurrency or trading in general. And we will take the best one let's say we'll take 5 of them, the best 5 that we like, and we'll put them up for a Twitter vote thread, or we'll do a vote here on Twitch or something like that. And we'll let you guys select the winner, and that person will get the t-shirt. I like that idea. That's pretty fun. So leave a comment down below, write up a hook, write up a verse, write up a lyric. Let us let's get the gangster going here. All right, challenged investor Theta. Thoughts on Theta? I really like Theta. Theta's platform, I don't want to say recently went live, but did recently go live. Theta.tv, I believe. Let's go check it out. Which we need to be streaming to. Yeah, so Theta.tv, earn T-Fuel. You can earn T-Fuel if you watch streams. Obviously, we can see their top streams. We've got Chico Crypto over here, and then we've got Take a Smoke. We've got Lady Rebel. Let's check out Lady Rebel. She's playing Fortnite. So streaming platform. It's competing with DLive. Obviously, we're on DLive, big supporters of DLive, but we'll be streaming. Once we get it all set up, we will be streaming over to Theta.tv. So I like Theta. I think it's a good project. I think it's a good team. Let's go take a look at some information as far as, how is it going to stand up? Oh, I don't think it's cryptorank.com. Sorry, it's cryptorank.io. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I think I almost got fished right there. All right, let's do Theta. All right, so we've got Theta here. Market capitalization of 351 million, okay? And Theta is, again, in the live streaming platform. So probably the biggest dog there, I would argue. Now, I know that Theta is... so Theta's token is an ERC20. It's on the Ethereum blockchain. So they haven't split off to do their own thing yet, to the best of my knowledge. And please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let's see here. They did, let's check out their ICO. Their ICO was in early 2018. So again, people think that DeFi has just been popping off for the last 2 years. That's not true. It's people that held from some of the purchases in 2018, 2017, Link, Band, Theta, all of these projects have done well. Let's see here. This did a 4.86x. So not massively in USD valuation. Its biggest gain was in Ethereum, which was almost a 17x. Its current ROI since its ICO is up about 236.6% in USD valuation since then. Hard cap, let's see here. ICO price of 12 cents, and its current price is 40 cents. So still up quite a bit. Let's take a gander here. Let's look at its dollar valuation. Do I think Theta is in a good buying spot? No, I don't. Let's look at the weekly here. We're coming off a perfected 9. Not massive sell side volume. So again, we can see some continuation here. However, I would not expect theta to really push against the broader market. As we can see here, the last perfected, we had a perfected 8 followed by an unperfected 9. And what did we have? We had almost 3 months of sideways and then nice continuation, like very clear, nice continuation. So I would like to see that. This could be a pullback followed by reaccumulation and then a second push up. But I think the safest thing to do is to wait and watch. I would put a watch list on this. I like theta. I think it's probably a good long-term hold, certainly. It just depends on its success relative to other platforms like DLive, relative to BSV's BSV's element. You've got library, LBRY. You've got a lot of competing projects that are trying to kind of corner the market on the live stream. And I don't think anybody's going to corner the live. I mean, you got Twitch, which you could say has cornered the market, but certainly there's plenty of room for competition in the kind of live streaming network thing. And Theta has some pretty good partnerships in the work. So I think Theta is a fine long-term hold. I don't think right now is the most opportune price. What Theta's done, as we can see here, we can like Theta on the weekly is like pretty fucking clear, dude. Like this is like a pretty like just easy chart to trade just with TD sequential. It pushes up for about 9 weeks. Resets, moves sideways or corrects for a month or two. I mean, here we can see correction following a push up to an 8, and then it pushes up. Here we go. Here's another perfected 9, and then it corrects for about 5 to 6 weeks. So 2 to 3 months, and it pushes up and then corrects for about 6 to 8 weeks. And so we kind of be looking at the third leg up. So we've had cycle 1, cycle 2. Where's the logical pullback target for this? Well, I think if we stay above 30 cents, then this would be more bullish than bearish, right? If we come all the way back down to 30 cents, then I think we'd be losing a lot of bullish momentum and it would correct largely with the rest of the market. But with Theta, let's just give this the 1 to 2 months that I really want to give the market here to broadly breathe and correct. And if Theta can hold 30 cents, then I would say I would like to take this for the next leg up. All right. So I'm not going to lie. This wasn't actually on my watch list, but it's going on there now. I've liked Theta. It's a good project. I slept on it. I didn't buy Theta cheaply. Well, that's not quite true. I did have some Theta. I didn't get into the ICO, but I did get some Theta in 2019. But it wasn't a large position in Theta. So, and that's still in my midterm holds, although I've taken profits on that, not 100%, but I think I might. I've got some Theta laying around, but it's not a large position. It's nothing that I want to call and write home to mom about. But yeah, I'd like to see Theta hold above 30 cents over the next 2 months, and if it's able to do that, then I can see us taking price higher. Let's check out what PTP would have us do on the daily if we're looking for current swing. Still a daily bullish trend. We're above that super trend at 31 cents. So even daily PTP wants to see us hold that 30-cent mark. But we don't have initiation for buying right now. In fact, we're oversold on the IFT RSI, which keep in mind is not like regular RSI, which indicates a buying opportunity. It's more like, hey, careful. Yeah, let's look at ISA here on the daily. It's in the mid-range. We do have a bottom feeder signal, so we can get a tradable bounce up to about 40 cents right here, which is actually a pretty freaking nice movement. About a 25% push to the upside. I feel a little hesitant on trading that particular bounce. I would be more conservative with my TP because I'm more earnest to trade the tradable bounces on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And certainly we can allocate to some tradable bounces on altcoins there, but I don't know. I'm not really hot to buy Theta at this current price level. But I do like it long term. All right. And again, T-Fuel, I just don't know a whole lot about how it works. I know that you get T-Fuel from watching the streams. I assume that you might get T-Fuel from doing the streams. You can reward it. So that's just another aspect that's probably positive overall. Let's see here. All right, so challenged investor, thank you for that. Let's scroll up and take a look at some other things. Justin Swap, yes, not yet launching my own cryptocurrency. Wook Chewy says stopped eating sushi after Fukushima. Let's see here. The fishing industry is harming the seals. I thought it was the club industry that was harming the seals. What about no more conspiracies? Conspiracy theory that Sam is chef. That'd be funny. Yeah, that's actually one of the conspiracy theories we talked about. Roy2962, Taskcast Vlogs, and I can't see the next one. But thank you guys for the subs on YouTube. Highly appreciated. The sushi has gone bad. The sushi was never good to begin with. looking to accumulate on Theta and T-Fuel said blog chain. Sushi was 10% fish, 90% rice. Just go vegan, it's healthier. I don't know, I would argue against that, but yeah, sure. Who the heck are these people in sushi? Hey, man. Wookie picked up a little serum last week. Good man. 0x167 says scam contracts are driving up gas prices. Yes, rug pools and Uniswap is absolutely driving up gas prices. I can fill up my car for less than one Ethereum transaction. Usual suspect says, can we check out Veracity VRA? Not immediately, but I will take a look at it. I don't know anything about it. So I'll have the team and myself take a gander at it, and then we'll check it out maybe tomorrow. Have I looked into the Ethereum Gold smart contract? I have not, Caribbean Crypto Show. I have not. Good to see you back, by the way. I haven't seen you for a while. Ethereum Gold. Let's take a look at that. Not at the moment, but I will look into it. 0x says he has been in that contract for months now, and it's the best smart contract on Ethereum. Durkin9 says, take a look at Fusion BTC. Specifically, there are things about Fusion that I like. Justin probably just has a rhinovirus. I think I've got a bear virus. 0x saying some more good things about the Ethereum Gold smart contract. Good to see you as well. Crypto Caveman, shout out to you, my friend. Crypto world wasn't the same without me. I feel like things did okay. Thoughts on T-Fuel? Yeah, just kind of like blockchain. Like I said, I'm not 100% as educated on it as I'd like to be. I know that it's the reward coin, and also something about something about burning it for Theta. Oh, okay. Here. Yeah. So so 0x. I took an initial look at this, right? So the Ethereum Gold is this Gondiji, right? This Gondiji. Yeah. Listen, I want to hesitate to say too much on it because I haven't looked into it as much as I can. But again, shout out to you. I appreciate you supporting the show, and I want to give your guys' project the due diligence that it needs before I say good or bad. And thank you for bringing the guys into the from the Discord in here. I appreciate that. And just, yeah, so keep that very, very clear. Whoa, I almost reached for something. I try to be quite fair. Thank you, Rekka. Baldman Rock. Listen, I got nothing against people with hair. Yeah, and I know you sent me some, you DM'd me some links last week. So obviously I was down all last week. Give me an opportunity to hop in there, check out your Discord, and see what's going on. And Sonny, good to see you, my friend. Hit the Rogan up button since he looks like a human thumb. You guys are fucking funny. The veracity of your numbers, then. Veracity is an adjective, isn't it? Let's see here. Well, if you can verify the veracity of your statement, yeah, veracity is a describing word. The truthfulness. It's not a verb, yeah. It might be a predicate nominative. Listen, dude, you're going to give me blisters. Yorick, good to see you as well, my friend. Late to the party, but just wanted to say it's good to see you. Thank you, 0x. I appreciate that. I mean, that's why we're here, man. We don't cater to anybody. We're beholden to nobody, and we're just here to help people out, man. Durkin9, good to see you, my friend. Thank you, Young Pro Vo. I appreciate that, my friend. Kind words, very kind words. All right, let's see here. No adjectives in brawling. Ooh. All right, so the things that you guys have asked me to look into that I will are Veracity, Fusion, which I know a little bit about Fusion, but this stream's getting a little long in the tooth, and then the Gondiji, which is this Ethereum gold smart contract, which I've you guys, there's quite a few of you guys in the stream. 0x167 has been here quite a bit. I know he's very supportive of that, and I do want to look into it before I really state anything about it. Tomorrow. So let's hop over here. Next time on Breaking Bitcoin. Tomorrow we're going to look into kind of the current events and how this tradable bounce is progressing. Two, we're going to be looking into the broader macroeconomic economy. So we're going to be looking at Forex charts tomorrow. We're going to be looking at CFDs. We're going to be looking at the indices tomorrow, right? So getting a good idea and breakdown of, because this is relevant to people. Obviously, this is a cryptocurrency channel, but I do have, and again, I recommend individuals to have money in other assets, to trade other markets, to be diversified, to have exposure to not just cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency, I think one of the big reasons people get wrecked in cryptocurrency is because they just put too much money into it relative to the amount of money that they have in something that doesn't move as quickly. Okay, so you can trade crypto degenerately. There's really nothing wrong with that, although there are things wrong with that, right? But if you don't have anything else in your trading game, in your tool belt, then if you get wrecked in crypto, like, what are you going to do? When you come trade with us, we trade crypto and we do well consistently, slowly, consistently. But we also do well in Forex. We also do well on ETFs. We also do well on CFDs. And we also talk about building a broader portfolio. These are all things that are going to help you if you want to do this professionally or just well, okay? There are certainly individuals out there who have outperformed my skin 100%. Degenerately trading DeFi, and huge shout out to them. Like, I'm actually very, very happy. Some of my close friends have made absolutely fantastic gains off trading DeFi, and not even just degenerately. They're just taking more risk, like just being more exposed. Good. But the reason why those same people have been able to keep their gains is by listening to some of the stuff that we talk about: position sizing, being conservative, diversifying, taking profit when you need to, and having exposure to other markets. So these are the skills and the tools that will help you as you progress. Anyway, so we're going to cover some of that tomorrow, and we'll keep you guys updated on the latest scuttlebutt. And I'm going to look into Veracity, Gondiji, and Fusion this week, so I can give you guys my ideas. And then other projects that I want to be talking about this week are going to be Plutus and Celo. Celo just launched on Coinbase Pro. It's been around for quite a while. Quite like the project, and we're going to be talking about that. But overall, thoughts on the market: tradable bounce, 2 to 4 days of upside potentially, and then 4 more months of downside, at least 4 more days, at least 4 more weeks, I think is what's going to be the most likely thing. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Make sure to hop in the comments section, leave some rap lyrics below, whether it's a hook, whether it's a verse, and you are going to be able to win the WSOT t-shirt that Bybit was kind enough to give us unworn. And let me tell you, Bybit does not skimp on the quality of their t-shirts. Love their t-shirts. This one doesn't fit me. Otherwise, that one might have slipped out of the box. But it's an extra large, and we will be giving it away to somebody who drops some rap lyrics in the comment section. Drop them down below. Let us know any projects that you'd like to do. Shill me your bags. Let me know what projects you guys want me to take a look at, and we will do our due diligence to the degree that we can move the market. Any comments, questions, thoughts, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, drop them in the comment section as well. You guys can follow us on the socials. Make sure to like and subscribe. Gets this out there, helps us out more than you know. And check out krakencryptocurrency.com for what we do as a community and what we do as a company. Thank you guys so much for your support. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to break down the markets, rant a little bit more at you, and give you guys the business. Be good, guys. Trade safely.